Hey, church, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for another time in God's Word. Today we're going to be in John chapter 18. I'm going to read two verses 33 and 34. Very interesting moment. Listen carefully. So Pilate entered his headquarters, that would be called the Praetorium, entered his headquarters again and called Jesus and said to him, "Are you the King of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you say this of your own accord, or did others say it to you about me?" Interesting. So here's the context. Don't forget it. Jesus is arrested, and the band that comes out to arrest him includes Judas, some Roman soldiers, and some Jewish officials. And this band of men arrest Jesus and bring him to the high priest's home. Jesus is given a hearing. Actually, it's a hearing in the dark of night, which is not really a hearing at all. It's an interrogation, all right? Jewish religious leaders by this point had really already made up their mind. They have spent the last couple of years debating the issue of Jesus and his teaching and his growing fame among the Jewish people. They found someone to sell him out. That was Judas. And now the ball is in motion. Their conclusion is this: Jesus is guilty of blasphemy according to the Mosaic law because he proclaimed himself to be the Son of God, which is a religious crime that was punishable by death. But here's the catch. The Jewish religious officials knew that capital punishment was not something Rome would permit them to do. The death penalty was a matter only for the Roman government. So they find a way to get Rome to do their dirty work. They conspired to hand Jesus off to the Roman governor, who was Pilate, under the profession that he claimed to be the king of the Jews, a declaration that would challenge the authority of the Roman emperor, who was Tiberius, which was, by the way, a very serious act of treason under Roman law. So now everything was set up to put their plan in motion. Now, strategically, Roman governors like Pilate would take up a post in Jerusalem during festival seasons, like Jewish festival seasons. So Roman leaders knew that the city would be overpopulated with Jews, which would demand greater governance during those times. So Pilate posted a Praetorium headquarters here. And Pilate was no idiot. He was savvy at managing the tension between Jewish leadership and Roman authority. Even so, this matter actually is going to test him. So he begins his investigation by actually calling in the man himself with the question of all questions: "Are you the King of the Jews?" And Jesus' response to this question is very revealing. It's telling because Jesus never publicly proclaimed, "I am the King of the Jews." He never said that about himself. Other people proclaim this about him, people like the wise men at his birth and Nathaniel. You can read about that in context. But Jesus never said this about himself. Yet, it was true. He was the King of the Jews. And the irony at this moment is that the religious leaders are going to use a declaration that they believe is untrue, present it to Pilate as truth to establish a case for Roman treason against the emperor of Rome. Therefore, when Pilate presents the question to Jesus, Jesus knows exactly where it comes from and who presented it and why Pilate, is asking him this question. Now, in the end, Jesus, the great high priest and emperor of all humanity, allowed men's sinful desires and actions to play right into his hands. A proclamation that he had never spoken is evidence of the truth, even though the players believe it's untrue. And this evidence becomes a declaration that convicts him of high crimes against religious authorities and the Roman government. Guys, there's only one response to all this: worship the greatness of King Jesus, for he was found guilty of being what he was, the King of the Jews. Isn't this an awesome moment? I love you guys. I pray that you'll share this with someone else, and I'll see you right back here for another great devotional again tomorrow.